And that's a crit.
Okay.
For 10 bludgeoning.
You knock him off his warg, but you're pretty sure he's still breathing.
By which you mean he's unconscious or he's still got HP?
Oh no, he's definitely unconscious. You're
Okay.
pretty sure he's still breathing.
Okay.
And that's going to bring us to wargs, who are all surprised. So that's going to bring us to Adrex. And Adrex, where you're stooped in your hiding place, I mean, Orion is looking very intently at what you're about to do.
No, it's Wendy who just stooped on that orc.
Let's hurl an axe at that guy.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that hits. How about that? That's a 25.
Does hit.
Yeah. All right. For 6 damage. I got another axe.
Do you?
I do. That is a 19.
Also hits.
All right.
One of my favorite things about Adrex is, yeah, I was trained as a ranger. I throw axes.
Don't ask questions. 9 damage.
Okay, and you cleave part of this warg apart, throwing 2 axes at it. Moving or staying put?
You know, I'm not done.
Not done.
No.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to use a maneuver. I'm going to use a superiority die. Let's push it. So I expend the superiority die for an additional 1 damage.
Okay. You've bloodied this warg with your axes.
And he gets to make a strength saving throw.
8.
Nope, that fails, and he's pushed back 15 feet.
Right, let's go ahead and move him the direction you want him to go.
Ah!
And he yelps as this warg goes tumbling backwards.
Oh?
That was a yelp?
Yeah, that was a yelp.
That was a yelp.
That was pretty yelp-like. I think everyone will agree.
I don't want to talk about it anymore. Birdie, it's your turn now.
It was so yelp-like, it left a review.
Oh my god.
You have to understand, we have a very pathetic excuse for a dog in this house.
A-list material, Brick Road.
Dude, I'm still hitting, so I still have advantage, right?
Yes, but you also have disadvantage because it's sunlight, so that cancels
But
out
I
your
also
advantage.
have advantage because Wendy's right there on this one. So I have double advantage and... So
Yeah.
do I... Okay.
That equals out to advantage.
Okay, so that's a 12 plus...
Was it a yelp-like or a yelp-like?
That's a 19.
That hits.
For a total of 21 damage.
21 damage. This one yelps too as you put an arrow deep into its neck. You've bloodied him, but he's snarling, very angry, and is probably going to bite Wendy if he ever gets a turn. Moving or
Very
staying
dog.
put?
I'm going to move closer.
Okay, I don't actually have any more orcs. You guys have killed all of my poor orcs.
It's fine. They deserve it.
We
Red, what's
killed
up?
2 out of 3 orcs.
Let's go ahead and move in a bit. And take a shot at this one.
Okay.
That'll hit a yes.
Yeah, that's...
Oh, this poor orc.
There's no...
It's not the orc, it's
Oh, this
orc.
poor orog.
This
It's a-
Still not the orc.
It's a warg.
It's a warg orc.
Was a warg, because it's going to go ahead and take 33 damage.
Yeah, it only had 5 hit points, so...
And then give Wendy a bonus, give her advantage on her next attack against that warg as a bonus action.
orcs murdering wargs in the land of Mordor.
Wargor.
Alright, let's see if I can steal Wendy's kill here.
Sell a corridor.
Probably not, actually. That's a low roll. Wow, he misses. Orion takes a shot at the warg that Adrex pushed back, but the shot goes wide. His arrow goes sailing off into a tree somewhere. It's going to bring us to Wendy.
Alright, I'm going to take a shot at this one.
Better kill them both, or they're going to get a
With
turn.
a sharpshooter shot. I might hit their wargers. That's a 13
13 hits.
for 19 damage, piercing.
19. And he's dead, son. You've murdered the doggo.
Alright, and then I'm going to go in and do a longsword slash on this guy.
Okay.
With the orc longsword.
No, with my longsword.
Yeah, we've been over this. It's his longsword.
I've been very clear about this. That's 17
17 hits.
for 13 slashing damage.
Okay.
Flurry of blows. That's a 19 and a higher than 19
Also hit.
for. Yeah, I'll steal this d6. Another 13 damage, bludgeoning, magical.
And that's enough. As you very swiftly put an arrow in one of the wargs and advance on the second one and tear him apart with your claw.
Turns out it's really easy to kill things when they're not literally made out of rock. It almost feels like cheating.
Orion steps out of the tree line looking very impressed at the effortlessness which you guys have taken apart these orcs. And you can see he draws one of his daggers, and he's moving forward to end this last one.
Hey, buddy, we'll kill the orc eventually. We're just gonna find out what he knows.
Adrex goes to collect his axes.
How open is this area?
It's about as open as you can see. It's sparsely
Okay.
wooded.
Adrex, give me a hand. Well, let's get the wargs and the orc bodies out of the open. Just put them under some trees so that they're not immediately obvious to any other orcs.
You got it.
And while I'm doing that, I'll also rifle through their pockets for loose change.
Oh, okay.
That's the
Rifle through their pockets for a black iron whip.
I don't think whips can be made out of iron. Like
I
aren't
could
they
have a
leather?
black iron handle.
Call it 13 pieces of silver
Okay.
as you go through their pouches.
Oh man, we need the silver. Whew. Feywild sucked us dry.
So Orion asks Wendy what exactly you hope to learn. Well, first of all, he asks whether or not she speaks Orcish.
I think Adrex does.
Adrex does.
So what do you do with this poor bastard?
Adrex.
Slap him
Adrex.
awake.
Adrex sits on his chest, so he can't go anywhere.
I mean, he's unconscious right now. He's definitely not going anywhere.
Yeah, but when he wakes up, he doesn't bolt or whatever.
Okay?
It's a restraining move. He's just being restrained.
Birdie pours his water skin on the orc's face.
And when he comes to, I mean, he's very badly wounded. He's grimacing at the weight of this Dragonborn pressing down on him. He starts cursing Adrex out a bit in his tongue. I'm assuming you guys have kicked his weapons away from him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Ask away, Red. What do you want to know?
Do I even speak Orcish?
Well, Adrex can. He can translate.
Ask him if they have any more of those wyverns. Those sucked.
Find out how far his camp is from here and in what direction.
Where's your camp? How far is it?
And in the Orcish tongue, which is already kind of a hideous sounding language, he describes the various violent sexual exploits he's going to visit upon your mother.
And Adrex laughs at that. And Adrex replies in Orcish, "You're really in no position to be talking like that, so you should just cooperate."
He spits blood in your face and laughs at you.
Ugh. Guess we're just going to have to kill you.
Birdie walks
He's
up,
not cooperating.
pulls out a knife, and he just kind of slowly stabs him.
Where at? Just
Just
a
kind of
little
in the
bit?
side. Yeah, just a little bit. Just in the side. Not like fully. Just kind of starts digging the knife in. Like, just kind of twisting around.
like, let's be clear. You can't just, like, kind of a little bit stab someone. If you're putting a knife into his body, it's going to kill him. He's at 0 hit points right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you
Love that.
Okay, like, if I...
Love that murder.
can I just stab him a little bit?
Just a little. Just a light stabbing.
But I
I
mean,
just
Birdie,
love
as
him.
you pull a knife, Adrex is sitting on top of him, and Orion's right next to him with this knife drawn. Trying to intimidate this orc just isn't going to work.
Yeah.
I mean, he's already resigned himself to his death. And if Adrex was any kind of man, he would get off of his stomach and let him die on his feet holding a blade. But of course, the massive girly boy coward won't allow that.
Do you think we're gonna get anything out of him, Adrex? And you what he's saying?
He's being really belligerent. He wants to die to just kill him.
But do you think we're going to get anything useful out of him right now? You're the one that's... Can you understand what he's saying?
Adrex, make an insight check.
Okay. No.
You're, okay.
There you go.
15.
15? It's very clear you're not going to get anything out of this guy.
That was worth a blip.
Was it worth 2, though?
Yeah. No, we should probably just kill him.
Yeah,
He
as
is
soon
a
as you
smart.
say no, before you finish the sentence, Fred already has his dagger in his throat.
Okay.
Okay. And the last of the orc's life bleeds out onto the ground.
What kind of equipment did they have?
Standard orc gear. I mean, they were each armed with one of these large great axes that you've seen the butchers use previously. The ones that kind of have like a cleaver shape to them. Each of the orcs had several javelins on their person. And then, I mean, Red's already taken their silver.
They've each got exactly 1/2 of an arrow in each of them.
Yeah, I already retrieved my other half an arrow. Yeah, I'll do the same. Let's do the same thing. Throw him just someplace that's out of immediate sight.
Okay.
Birdie, give me a hand covering up the signs of the fight. Just keep the blood from being obvious on the ground, and then let's keep going.
Can I just say, I love that in the good cop, bad cop scenario, that is Adrex and Birdie. Birdie is bad cop.
It's more just bad cop, knife cop.
So you guys... Is the plan to sneak into a Seraphal dead? Or is Red going to just insist that he go with Birdie and...
I think we should just walk in.
Let's
At
just
this
walk
point.
in. Who
Just walk
cares?
Let's just
Okay.
walk in.
And we already didn't go at night because we were planning to just walk in. So
Gotcha.
Yeah, let's just walk in, and if sneaky Dragonborn guy wants to do his sneaky thing, then
And if he wants to go stealth off and do some stealthing, no one's going to tell him no.
Yeah, well, that would be a good
Orion.
opportunity for him to do it, too.
I remembered his name because I wrote it down. Orion.
His
does
name's
it
Orange,
when
the
you guys-
Orange Dragonborn.
When you guys indicate that you're just going to kind of walk in, it's like you own the place. Again, he defers to your judgment. And so welcome back to a Seraphal. As you guys get close enough in, which direction are you coming in from?
you said the south is where they had burnt it, the field.
No, from beyond the city, so up around to the north and west.
Oh, okay.
I mean, like, which direction is the half dragon camp? Like, because we would have just kind of walked straight there, right?
No, we would have circled around, so it's not immediately obvious what direction we're coming from.
Yeah,
Oh.
you guys were traveling in from the east. So if you want to approach from the town, you'd be circling around and coming in from some other direction.
Let's come in from the south. Let's cross the river.
We left from the south, so that's traditional.
Yeah. And what are we not saying anything about before we get into earshot of the village?
Oh.
Don't stare at the sun.
Crap.
It's probably fine. He won't remember.
I don't think so. Like, I don't think you'll remember. I agree.
And as you guys approach, immediately, as you get within eye shot of the village, a pair of lizardmen break away from the village. They wade across the river. They meet you on the other side. And they confirm your identity. They've seen you before. But they don't speak any language in common with you guys. None of you speak lizardman, I'm assuming.
No.
And that's pretty much all I got.
What's the name of the Goliath who lives here? Anybody have that in their notes?
River
it-
Leaper.
River Leaper. When we get within range of the town, I'm just going to pull out my horn of silent alarm and blow it that only River
He's
Leaper
not here.
can hear it.
He's
Yeah,
not
River
here.
Leaper's not here.
Oh, that's right. He went back. He went somewhere else.
Yeah.
They sent him to a shallow scale village.
Yeah,
Swamp.
that's right. No. Yeah, never mind. There's no one good to signal to.
Okay. But they make no move to stop you, but they go to escort you into the town limits. And as you come in, I mean, many of the Moakton that you recall seeing are still here in the village. Many of the families are going about their lives as best they can. It doesn't look like the lizard folk have intruded on their houses. It looks like most of the lizard folk are resting in 4 here, in this little copse of trees in between the village and the stage, where Wendy found the altar to White Mother. Quick estimate, there have to be a couple dozen lizard folk here. So, and it looks like these are the burliest fighters amongst them. You don't see any of the women or young from the lizard folk clan. It looks like Huyan has brought the bulk of her strength here for now. And they're leading you towards number 10 here, which was the mayor's house.
So what you're saying is they didn't kick anyone out of their house except the mayor.
You don't know if the mayor's been kicked out because you're not there yet. We're just following them along for now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Where is his name? I have it here. I have my whole Moakton Village NPC lists. Oh my god, I wrote immensely large amount of details for these Moakton.
Jeff
and
Moakton,
none of them had never come into play.
the mayor who loves to smoke.
The Oliver family. Morthwell and Beatrice Oliver. Who you guys met in the basement and had a long conversation with and learned some interesting things and some very not so interesting things.
I remember being incredibly disappointed. There was no magic.
No, there wasn't. But as you approach the house, Father Oliver comes out from the door. He looks very tired. He looks very weary indeed. But he looks glad to see you all. And he says as much as you approach the house. Speaking in common, he says that it's been a long time since your last visit. That some of the townfolk had begun to fear for your safety.
We had a long journey.
We think we had a long journey.
He says, well, I'm sure that you have much to discuss with Huyan.
We'd actually rather have a discussion with you for now. Find out your side of this before we talk to her.
You can tell that he's speaking very carefully. You can tell that he's choosing his words very carefully. He says that Huyan and her lizard folk have been very gracious protectors. That they haven't brought violence on any of the families here. That they have successfully repelled several orc patrols in the area. And that they are not taking anything from the village stores. The lizards brought provisions of their own from their swamps, and they are also doing pretty well fishing in the river or foraging from the surrounding fields. He says, considering... And then he stops mid-sentence. You can tell that there's something very troubling that he wants to discuss, but he doesn't feel free to discuss it with you.
Does it seem like he doesn't want to discuss it with us, or that he doesn't want to discuss it around these lizard men?
Make an insight check.
Alright. That is an 18.
He seems very genuine when he talks about Huyan protecting the village and doing a good job from that. And that strikes you as very strange, considering you've heard this was more of an occupation of the lizard men.
Well, I mean, that's why... So he does seem like he's being genuinely true. Because that's why Wendy wanted to come here in the first place, to get their side of it.
He invites you all inside for the time being.
Alright, yeah, let's go.
When you go into the house, remember the first floor of this house, the Olivers had a basement level, but the first floor, the back half of the house, was all an open space where town halls would be held. They would set a table up, the elders from each family would sit at them, plus Red, because that was just hilarious, and Raazu standing in the middle of the table. All of that's gone. Now in that part of the house, you see many of Huyan's personal effects. And you can see her sitting on a mat on the floor.
Birdie
Sitting
asks,
cross-legged on the floor with her eyes closed. It looks like she's doing meditation or breathing exercises.
Birdie asks our temporary traveling, I can't remember his name.
Orion.
Orion, because he's orange, right. I asked him to wait outside. That because if we walk in with a member of a hostile army,
What language are you speaking to him?
Draconic. Just please wait outside while we speak with Huyan.
And he responds in Draconic. And he's just whispering to you. He says, "No can do, little cousin. I am the general's eyes in this matter."
Freddy just gets very sad. Aw.
Nobody ever listens to Birdie, and he's just like, he's up. It hurts his little soul.
Nobody listens to my dog either because he weighs 6 pounds. So that's the problem.
Wildly incorrect. Everyone listens to your dog, Brickroad.
I actually haven't heard him at all today. I hope he's not dead out there. That's very strange that I go many hours without hearing him. Father Oliver asks whether he should disturb Huyan right now, or if you'd like to retreat downstairs to the den, kind of kick the road off your boots and relax for a little while.
I mean,
let's start as we mean to go on. Let's just disturb her now.
Okay. So he goes over and rouses her from her meditations. And she looks out over the group, and surprisingly enough, she doesn't look entirely unhappy to see you. She gets to her feet, approaches the group, and speaking in common. First you see her exchange a kind of curt glance with Orion. But then she directs her attention to Adrex especially, but the rest of the group in total. She says she hadn't expected to see you back. She thought you had left the region for good.
Well, and then Adrex remembers that he's not supposed to talk about something, and then gets really anxious. Yeah.
Birdie just pipes in, fairy bullshit.
Definitely fairy bullshit.
Does Red say anything?
No, if they're going with fairy bullshit, let.
Fair enough. It was pretty much fairy bullshit.
Yeah.
That
She
pretty much
turns-
sums up the entire adventure.
She turns to Father Oliver and addresses him, and you can tell that she's very new to the Moakton tongue, but she's making a great effort to speak it correctly. Says something to him, and he nods and agrees. Then she turns back to you and says, "Let's go downstairs, discuss where you've been and what you've been doing this past year."
All right.
Sure.
Okay.
The den is very much as you guys saw it last time, with Father Oliver's many books. And after a few moments, he comes down with a full kettle. Serves tea to anybody who wants it. Huion asks a lot of questions about this fairy bullshit.
Like, what specifically?
Well, let's start here. She asks what you mean by fairy bullshit.
We'll essentially just tell her that we accidentally stumbled through a gate into the Feywild, and it took us about a year to find our way back.
By your reckoning, I think it was different for us.
She asks if this would have anything to do with the Moakton's deity, who they call the White Mother.
And Wendy shrugs in return and says, I have a question as well. What did our... We weren't expecting to find you here in the village. What made you decide to move in after you told us they had nothing to offer?
She says it took her the better part of 2 or 3 months before she began to see the wisdom in your words. And it was after repelling her father's first attack. A group of about 40 kobolds that he sent to Shallow Scale Forest. Without the buffer of the orcs in the way. And she puts a little bit of blame into that, like a little bit of an accusatory tone as she says that. Repelling her father's forces proved to be very difficult indeed. She thought it best to take up a more defensible position.
Why did you move in so aggressively? It seems like the mayor here doesn't have any problem with you having moved in. You seem to be making an effort to learn the local culture.
At this point, Father Oliver has gone back upstairs. She asks you what you know about the nature of this place.
Do you mean the field that hampers visibility?
She nods.
What about it?
She asks whether or not you would consider, which of these two locations you would consider safer from her father's eyes. A swamp, where she is known to be and which is vulnerable to attack from the air. Or a village surrounded by a powerful glamour.
That doesn't affect any of your father's agents as far as we're aware. I mean, it makes a lot of chaos with the orcs, but which is good for interference.
She says that interference has bought her a considerable amount of time this past few months. And the time has been exactly what she needs. She has done... The period of time that she's been here, she has managed to conclude some very interesting studies on the nature of the glamour in this town. She thinks that by the end of winter, she'll be able to augment the glamour to include dragons in its defenses.
If you're making an attempt to stay here peaceably, then why remove the town's women and children to a place that you yourself find not defensible?
She tells you it's a pretty standard insurance tactic. Make sure that the town folks stay in line, that they don't make any attempt to rise up against her lizard folk. She says that if her father knows that she's here, his eyes will no longer be turned towards Shallow Scale anyway. They're safe there. She's safe here. And in the meantime, she's building better protections for everybody involved.
Can I make an insight check
What are
to
you trying
see,
to-
is
what are you
she
trying to
actually
learn?
trying to convince us of anything here? Like, does she genuinely think, like, oh, I'll just convince them that I'm in the right here?
Make me an Arcana check.
Okay.
Intelligence Arcana.
Ah, 6.
A 6?
Yeah.
It's hard to say, because on one hand, you've known Huyan to be like a very prudent person. She's not reckless, and she's not stupid. And you know that she has some knowledge of various types of magics, because she seemed to have some familiarity when you guys gifted her with that magical stone.
Yeah.
It's difficult to say what she may and may not be able to accomplish with this glamour. Best case scenario, she can put a shield up against dragons. Lizard folk and Moakton could live happily ever after. Worst case scenario, she has no idea what she's doing, and a red dragon comes down and burns everybody to a crisp.
So, Birdie has begun vibrating with excitement because when he heard that she might be able to make this magical thing stronger, and he raises his hand again because at heart he's an elementary school student, and he just excitedly starts asking a bunch of questions like, how are you going to do this? What do you need? Can I help? Can you teach me what you're going to do? What do you know about the glamour?
Fred will
And
probably stop him about the "can you teach me" point and cut in. And is it still powered by the sacrifice of the Moakton?
Unless he is physically holding Birdie's mouth shut, Birdie is just going to keep asking questions.
No, he's not. So this.
He just nonstop.
Just
rapid
squeezing
fire.
him a little.
She says that sacrificing the young for the greater good of the entire village was a barbaric practice, but not completely misplaced. She thinks what the Moakton lacked, that she is going to be able to provide, is a more firm understanding of the magics in place. She says, by the end of winter, they will no longer need their white mother. But she does not give further details beyond that. She then
Birdie
turns
just
to
look-
Birdie as far as what you guys can do to help. She says she's disinclined to seek assistance from you lot at all, considering the one job she gave you, you massively ruined. She thinks that your heart's in the right place. She thinks that you care about the safety of her lizard folk and of the Moakton here, but that your hearts will always turn back to adventure and slaughter. She'll ensure that the town is always open to you during your travels, but beyond that, she has no particular use for you. Is Adrex just sitting there, like, trying to remember the thing he's not supposed to say?
Actually, Adrex is looking at Orion to see what he's up to.
Make an insight check.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, buddy. It's a 20.
So you're sitting there, and you're like, what's the thing I'm not supposed to say? What if I accidentally say it? Like, you turn back to look at Orion, and you're thinking there's no way that she can't know he's one of her brother's men. Like, she's got to know that. He's an orange Dragonborn in an area. There's only... What's weird, though, is Orion seems to be following the conversation pretty well, taking it all in, but you see him paying very close attention to Red and not Huyan. And that
Not
just
you
strikes you
either.
as very odd. Yeah, not you either, which maybe hurts your feelings a little bit.
Okay.
Why are you telling everyone that this occupation was our idea? Surely you knew that this wasn't what we had in mind.
And she doesn't understand what you mean by that. From her point of view, this was your idea. Your idea was to live in a symbiosis with the Moakton, to share each other's provisions and benefits, to offer protection, to train them to fight. This is exactly what she's doing. This is her interpretation of what you told her, yes. She took it the wrong way, but you're not going to be able to convince her of that.
All right.
She asks if you would like her to send Father Oliver over to one of the other households. As you recall, there's no inn in this town. You were just put up in with some of the other townsfolk. If you would like
What's
to
your
stay
end?
here, go ahead.
What's your end goal between the orcs and your father's forces? I mean, sure, you'll have a glamored village, but you'll be literally under siege from two groups, one of which knows where you are since they've seen it beforehand, and is fairly, as far as I can tell, tactically and strategically aware. It's not like the glamour won't erase it from their maps or anything, and the other one just has orcs everywhere. We killed 3 of them on the way in, and that was a small group.
For that, you have my gratitude.
Everyone loves when we kill orcs. It's very popular.
She says that... Red, was it intentional to let slip about her brother's forces? Because up until now, you given no indication that you knew her brother.
I mean, we came in with a guy who was obviously working for her brother. She moved to this location because her brother was attacking her. So yeah, there's no intention in Red's mind to pretend like he's not involved.
Okay. She says that her brother is a short-sighted person, that he is more interested in the glory of war than seeing through some strange machination of her father's. To the question of what to do with these orcs, she's perfectly content to let Hanto and Zolog's butchers murder each other for the foreseeable future. And this seems to jive with what the general told you earlier about how he wants to come out with a sortie and set these butchers to right. Looks like her plan is just wait out winter.
Birdie's still super excited about the prospect of magic, and he just kind of loses himself. So he raises his hand again and says, "What did you steal from that he wants so bad?" Just blurts it out.
Well, she already told us that, so.
No,
she didn't tell us what it was, but she already told us she stole something from him.
I don't think she did.
Yeah, she did, because we had a whole conversation about how I asked what it was, and she wouldn't tell me.
Oh, okay.
And she doesn't now either. Again, she says that she's inclined to show you hospitality, but beyond that, she believes that your guys' relationship should be polite but distant. She's not going to ask anything of you, and she would like you not ask anything of her in return. If you want to continue killing orcs in the area of your own volition, she will not stand in your way. And at that, she offers to arrange if you guys be put up in some of the local houses.
Sure, that sounds reasonable. We each stayed with someone the last time we were here. We can just find their houses and stay with them again.
Most of you guys stayed with Mother Stackpool last time, as I recall. And
Right.
Wendy tried to sleep in the woods.
It went super well.
It did go super well. Does anybody want to check up on anybody in town before this evening?
Well, Wendy is going to be checking up on people just to kind of gauge the feel of the town.
Wasn't there a Goliath?
He's gone,
He was one of the. He's one of the hostages.
and the other rangers are gone, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um,
So anyone who could fight.
Because Wendy's getting pretty rapidly convinced that the fact that Huion has no idea that this was not a cool thing to do means that she's the biggest danger in this village.
Yeah.
I'm mostly hoping to find a place that I can talk to some of the villagers without the lizardmen overhearing. So Red is kind of just gonna, I think I'll try with the people that made my armor, the
Okay.
Smiths. I believe they're number 12.
Mother Stackpole seems like a good place to start for.
As far as lizardmen overhearing, there's probably not much danger of that because most of these lizardmen don't speak common. So if you
Right.
find some Moakton that understand common, you can just have conversations and they can't understand what you're saying anyway. Very notably, though, you realize pretty quickly that Fedekis, Huion's lizardman lieutenant who went with you guys down into the tombs, is not here. You learn pretty quickly that he is back at Shallow Scale keeping watch over the wards.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Speaking with
Yeah,
the
I'm gonna-
townspeople, with the Leatherworkers family, with some of the other Moakton in town, nobody's particularly happy with the situation, but it doesn't seem like it's from a place of imminent danger. It's pretty clear the lizardmen don't mean them any harm, but nobody really knows where this is going or how it's going to end. Who else is looking into this? Wendy and Red are both looking into it. What are Adrex and Birdie doing as far as this
Adrix
goes?
would look into this too.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Adrex. Why don't we go see Mother Stackpole specifically?
Go ahead and roll a charisma investigation check. One of you roll it for the group. Roll it at advantage because everybody's helping.
Do you guys want
go
me to
for
do
it.
this? Yeah.
Red.
Oh, hell. Window order got messed up. Where's my character sheet? There it is. So that'll be charisma investigation is a plus 11, so 27.
27, is that it? That's all you got?
I only rolled a 16.
I don't know, those are riot numbers.
Bear with me 1 second here.
Except with Riot at 27 would be the lowest number that she
Right.
could possibly roll on the die.
Right. Getting there.
Oh, I just found Thud on my NPC lists.
We should go check up on that.
He's not red, so I know he's still alive out there somewhere. Oh.
Isn't he just Thud now?
So, you learn two interesting pieces of information as you guys are trying to like take the temperature of the town. Like I said, nobody's living in like imminent danger or threat. There just seems to be this very thick atmosphere of apprehension because nobody knows what comes next. The first thing you learn, partially you already knew, is that two Mokten, the night that Huyan showed up with the lizard men, were able to escape the town. One of them was Arianed, and in town nobody knows what became of her. The other was Broderick McBroderick.
I love that name.
He was the Mokten, kind of in charge of the storehouse.
Mm-hmm.
I forget if you guys had much interaction with McBroderick.
I talked with B-Rod.
With B-Rod? Oh, that's right, because you did that hilarious prank at the storehouse when you were throwing water skins at Raazu and Broderick. So yeah, they vanished the nights that Huyan's forces showed up. Irianid's story you already know, that she thought they were under heavy attack and managed to escape, only to then be captured by the Kobolds. Nobody's seen anything from McBroderick. The other thing you learn is that coming into winter, the day is fast approaching when the town is supposed to hold its lottery to determine whose child is given over to the White Mother. Except Huyan has since learned of this practice and has abolished it. They will not be doing that this winter. And that's got some of these Mokten very scared. Some of them don't seem upset about it. If you recall, some families were against this practice anyway. But on the whole, ending this tradition has everybody a little bit on edge.
The other thing Wendy will do, just as like kind of a personal moment, is was I able to find out whether or not a couple had just recently lost a child in the previous when we first showed up here. Is that one of the people we were able to bring back? Because I know they did have some children with them.
No, you weren't able to bring back any children from the Feywild. The ones that came with you were all of the... they're I don't want to say olds, but probably in the middle of the age range. The ones who are still able soldiers. The ones who were old enough to have heard stories of a Seraphal from Josiah, but which were not too young to be completely indoctrinated by the Queen. If you had had more time there to like empty out their village and do more persuading, but circumstances did not favor that.
I blame Adrex.
I also blame Adrex.
Red. Well, let me ask you this. Are you guys all content to be put up in one of the houses here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Then, Red, you're offered a spot at the leatherworker's house,
Okay.
having commissioned their family before. And the rest of you are offered places at Mother Stackpool's house. Her basic thoughts about all of this... She also has no idea what's going to happen, but talking to her about it, she seems almost excited to see what's about to happen.
She's having a good time.
She's definitely not having a good time. She's not giggling about it, but this is probably the most exciting thing that's ever happened to her in her very long life.
So, is Orange with us?
Orion.
Orion, right, yes.
Yes, he is.
Okay.
Maybe we can figure out a way to sacrifice Huyan. How many problems would that solve?
It's not that sort of
And everybody is going to sleep for the night?
When everybody goes to sleep, Birdie's gonna like kick. Oh, Red's not with us. Shit.
No, Red was offered a bed at the... What's their family name? I have it here in my big list somewhere.
Bob Leatherman.
Bob Leatherman. Yes, that's it.
The Moakton.
Pretty messed up that these pig people work in leather.
I mean, technically everything is made out of leather, so you know.
The Perry family, yeah. Bledden and Canyard. So, Birdie's doing what?
Birdie wants to go and talk to Mother Stackpool and tell her about the Moakton that we have with
So
her.
the thing you're not supposed to say to anybody, you're going to say to Mother Stackpool?
I mean, you know, I didn't agree to that.
When are you doing this? After everybody's gone to bed?
Oh yeah, after everybody goes to bed.
Adrex is keeping an eye on Orion. See what he's up to.
So, I mean, like the person that Birdie trusts most in this town is probably Mother Stackpool,
Okay.
and because she's a little trolly, and that makes him happy.
So, are you telling her this in confidence, or are you just blurting it out like over dinner? Is my
No, I'm telling it to her in confidence after everybody goes to bed.
And you tell her that her like distant ancestor has come back and he's as old as she is.
Well, I don't tell her that about the him being a Stackpool. I just say we brought some Moakton back with us from our trip, and they are able-bodied warriors, and they might be able to help with the barrier situation that everybody in town seems to be worried about.
She seems delighted by this news and not the least bit skeptical. Adrex,
Yeah.
let's get a perception check. Are you trying to stay awake all night?
Yeah.
Okay, perception check. Wendy and Red, you're done for the night?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. It's a 7.
And Adrex, just at some point in the night, you just find yourself nodding off to sleep.
It sounds about right.
Wake up in the morning, having forgotten you wanted to watch somebody.
Okay. Red.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get a Constitution saving throw, please.
Is this against magic
It is not.
or a spell? Okay.
Why magic or a spell?
That's the way it's worded.
For those non-magical spells?
I think it's for the non-spell magic. Con save would be a 10.
Are you immune or just resistant to poison damage?
Completely immune
Completely
to
immune.
all
Okay.
poison,
Then don't worry
not
about
just
that.
damage.
Don't worry about that at all.
Red wakes up. Somebody not that smart tried to poison me.
Red.
Adrex.
28 points of piercing damage. As your eyes shoot open in the middle of the night, and you feel...
No, they don't. I have 28 max HP.
Oh, so you're unconscious?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Then that's where we'll end our session. Most excellent. I don't have to describe anything. I can just leave everybody just hanging all week.
Yeah, that's fair.
Why would he end it that way? What a dick.
I mean, it's fine. I won't remember.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I've already forgotten what just happened.
It would have been way more damage, but he's immune to all poison, so it's fine. Alright, let me get a straw poll put up here. I do apologize for having to end a little earlier today, But to make up for it, after the stream, I am going to host the RPG Limit Break channel because I'm going to watch as much of that marathon as I can this week.
I am going to fight.
Every time I go to make the straw poll, at the end of the session, I have this brain fart moment where I suddenly can't remember anybody's character's names.
I have that moment constantly. Constantly.
I only have that with Windy. No, not Windy. Birdie. Windy and Birdie.
I don't have that with this group, but with my group, like the game that I DM, I can't remember any of those people's names.
So there's our straw poll. Go ahead and vote for who you guys think is the blippest. I'm going to go dark for a minute as I do a little bit of tallying. There's not a lot of math to do this week. The math actually works out real easy for the little bit of combat. I will say that you guys avoided a much more difficult battle that was worth a lot more experience. So maybe we'll just save that one for next week, and I'll give it to you guys anyway. We'll see how it goes. So you guys talk about your blips, and I'll be back in a couple minutes.
So for what it's worth, I was actually planning to sneak the truth serum into the dude's breakfast today to figure out his deal. That was my plan. Was
Chaos Emeralds, or
You mean the Chaos Emeralds?
You got to say it in an Obama voice. Anyway,
There's a really good Trump one that makes me laugh every time I do it. All right. The question: who furthered the?
Let's see. What did we do today? We spoke with kobolds.
let's put it this way: does anyone have anything that they want to nominate someone for?
Uh-uh.
All right. In that case, since no one's jumping out, furthers the party's goals is usually pretty easy to pick someone after the fact.
Mhm.
Who wants to grab a creative one?
I had something for this, but I didn't write it down.
Yeah, I've completely forgotten how to write things down.
I like
Usually I
the
write
idea
things
of
down for these.
for creative. I like the idea of Red trying to help Adrex stuff.
Oh, hide.
Yeah,
Hide. Yeah, that was good.
The completely
That's
rejected
not-
idea. Okay.
and
Yeah.
just, no, you can't do that.
All right,
Going-
for badass. Is that one of those?
Yeah. I think Birdie did I think Windy did a pretty good job dropping wargs.
Yeah, that's true.
No, I dropped on orcs.
That's true. I thought you killed a couple of the wargs too.
No, I did. I killed pretty much everything there. I don't
Yeah.
think any of you guys even fired a shot.
I
No,
did.
I killed some
That's
stuff.
a
But...
pair of axes. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
shot
did
it.
you kill anyone with them?
Intangibles.
I think. Man, I should really come up with the end of a sentence before I start it.
I think it should go to Birdie for it not being Adrex doing the thing that we were told we agreed not
Yeah.
to do.
I like that one.
All right.
So Birdie.
It does occur to me that I don't listen to you guys when you talk. We have this little powwow, and I don't check the audio, except when I'm going to process the videos for YouTube, except for just quality. You guys could literally say anything during that time period. It just goes up on YouTube without any...
Oh, it is non-stop shit talking.
Constant shit.
I mean, did you? I take it you don't have a bot that scrubs swears then? Because, geez.
No, not on... I put as little effort into the Flumph YouTube as possible. I barely have time to just upload what I do to that channel. So
I don't know that I like the concept of a robot that scrubs squares, because that means that at some point someone took the time to teach a robot what a swear is. And I feel like that's
computer time, though.
misjudged.
It's not person time. Like
Just
the
shows you
human
that-
time is probably trivial.
Well, see, that's the problem, is if you're using like some kind of machine learning algorithm, then it's a robot teaching itself how to make the sickest swears.
yeah, you just show the
And
robot.
we're not going to be able to survive these robo burns.
Show the robot that George Carlin skit and just be like, none of that. All right, so Raazu's not here this week, which is good, because my least favorite character by far, is Raazu. Like, not even a competition. Wendy, I gave you your alignment this week for working very, very hard to benefit all of these parties, which seem to just be absolutely at odds to everybody. I also gave you your aspect for much the same reason, trying to figure out how you can achieve peace between all these parties using what they already have going for them. What else do you want to make an argument for?
I want to make an argument for my flaw for seeing shiny objects in the sky and flying straight towards them and then getting shot.
Okay. To be fair, though, like, they weren't aiming to kill you or anything. They were just trying to...
Oh, sure, absolutely.
That's just Kobold version of mail delivery.
I mean, it worked out pretty well.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Adrex, I'm awarding you your flaw. Orange, shady-ass orange guy's like, hey, can I come? Yes! And I'm gonna
Are
give
we
you
Dragon
your...
Bros? Yeah.
I'm awarding you your aspect for showing off at the orc fight to your new dragon bro. What else you got for me?
No, that's it.
Okay. Birdie, I'm awarding you your bond. Focus on the little things to make the tribe stronger. You spent this entire session asking minute, trivial questions of every NPC who would possibly listen to you in the hopes of making the tribe stronger. What else do you want to argue for?
No, that's it.
Okay. Red, I'm awarding you your flaw for just killing the orc when it was clear you weren't going to get anything out of it. And I'm awarding you your aspect, the proprietor of an illicit pit fighting arena where you once took bets for reasons that I will not explain this week.
I was gonna end with, am I gonna have to offer that retroactive?
Do you want to make a case for anything else?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with alignment for Red's attempts to try and talk through everything here and come up with a solution that will work for everyone, which will obviously not work.
No.
But that's what he's up to.
We don't know it won't work, but...
Everyone in big air quotes, and then it will work. Also in big air quotes.
Anything else?
No, that was the only one I had written down.
Okay. So we award one blip for the most creative solution to a problem this session.
We said red because he tried really hard to get Adrex into stealth, and you just shot it down. I want to help Adrex be stealthy. No. Just no.
He's hopeless. We give one blip for the assist. Who furthered the party's goals the most this week?
I think we were talking about that one when you came back.
Okay.
I think we're going to give that one to Adrex for not being the person to blurt out our secret.
Yeah, that's what we came up to.
Adrex for keeping his goddamn mouth shut.
Yeah.
We give one blip for being the badass. Who was the badass this week? I mean, clearly Orion was.
I mean, Birdie, I'm sorry, Wendy. I mean, there were other people in that combat, but did there need to be?
I don't know. We should let Wendy get a really big head over taking out a couple of, like, CR 1/2 monsters.
Oh, come on. I took out
What's the
3 CR
CR
1/2
word?
monsters.
We give one blip for intangibles.
We gave that to Birdie for not keeping his goddamn mouth shut.
Yep. Both sides of that coin.
And it looks like Red is taking our straw poll this week.
To possibly the worst person.
Everybody's 120 experience points. That's for 3 orcs and 3 wargs.
120, you said?
120 experience, yeah, for the encounter.
Why'd you even bother counting it?
Didn't take me very long, just 100 each. Wendy, you're taking your alignment, your aspect, your flaw, and the badass. That's 4 blips for you. Blips, by the way, are worth
Yeah, I don't know.
300 because
Oh,
one of you is level 6 now, I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's me.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
correct.
So blips are worth 300. Adrex,
Mm.
you're taking your aspect, your flaw, and the assist, so 3 blips for you. Birdie is taking his bond and the intangibles, so 2 blips for Birdie. Red, I've got you down for alignment, aspect, flaw, creative, and straw poll, so 5 for you this week.
God damn it. I am 130 short.
Oh, you should have been
Joking
alerted
about
at
that
me.
120 now.
That's brutal. Actually, I don't think I was much of a badass this week. I think Adrex
Nope, too
did
late.
a really good job of almost getting to level 6.
I already updated my spreadsheet. It's too late now. You should have thought of that beforehand. You're such a bad friend.
Oh, come on. I don't need it.
All right, so once again, I do apologize for breaking a little early this week. We'll be back at our regular times next Sunday when we find out what the hell happened to Red. That's it, guys. Peace out.
All right.
See ya.
Later.